Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us at another webinar. Today, we are going to talk about gamification. This is a huge topic. So this is cool. We are going to talk about all the things that are important here. We have a special guest. So we have Tom Rutkowski, who is lead product manager at Open Loyalty. Hi, Tom. Great to have you.
Hello, Irek. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So briefly, let me go through the agenda. We are going to start with gamification as a phenomenon. So there's going to be a bit like, a sneak peek into our latest loyalty trends report. Then Tom will move on to the most important part of today's webinar. So actually how to gamify customer loyalty. Then we will share a few successful examples from our customers. And then, as usual, we will leave you with a few practical takeaways. So without further ado, let me jump into the statistics. As I said before, this is our latest loyalty trends report. It's great because we have over 200 loyalty professionals who have taken part in the survey. So I wanted to share with you like two pieces of data. First is the impact, because obviously we are going to focus on the things that have the biggest impact on business here. So according to the people who took part in the loyalty trends report for 2025, gamification and game-based mechanics actually have the biggest impact in customer marketing. And then the second statistic that beautifully correlates here is actually the plan to invest. So not only it is something that makes a difference, but also the majority of our respondents declared that they have plans to allocate some budget into gamification and actually transform their programs into programs that use gamification to engage customers. And here, why is it so popular? There are definitely more than those three reasons that I have listed here, but at least to me, like the three most prominent would be the fact that gamification differentiates the brand. And in a moment, I will show you a few, a beautiful example of that. So if you are a brand who wants to compete on customer experience, member experience, definitely gamification is the way to go. Also, it keeps customers engaged. So obviously, we want our customers to buy our products and services, but it's not possible to do it all the time. So what we need to do is actually create this environment for meaningful interactions throughout the year, right? And then customer lifetime value. And also gamification helps to drive behavioral change. So actually form a habit. So let me just show you a few examples. So the first one comes from Limango. Shout out to Verena here. Definitely, this is one of my favorite loyalty programs. And here you have a beautiful quote. So basically, the idea is that Limango wants to become #1 platform for family shopping. And they want to do that through actually shopping experience. So their plan is actually to make shopping at Limango feel like playing. So actually this gamification part is absolutely huge. I would say that this is the pillar of the whole experience. And this is great because it goes way beyond shopping. So right now, when I think about brands like e-commerce brands who actually really create those game-like experiences, Limango definitely comes to my mind first. Another thing is, as I said before, the goal is to keep customers engaged. And here, this is another example from one of our customers. This is Qdance. Qdance, this is a company that organizes music events. And one of the events that we were discussing with Koen, shout out to Koen, it was actually DEFCON 1. So this is an event that takes place once a year. But because they implemented the loyalty program, because they have an app, they are able to create multiple touch points throughout the year. So, they stay in touch with people visiting the festival. They also can run some challenges. They can actually meaningfully connect and build momentum towards the next event. So this is absolutely great. I'm not going into too much detail because this is not actually the part of the webinar, but you will see all the links, in the description of the webinar, and definitely I will share the links to detailed case studies, and I highly recommend to go through them. And another example, the fact that gamification allows or actually helps to drive behavioral change. So this is another great loyalty program. We were talking with Manuel Hoyer from Dakadu, and he explained that they have their own digital product. It's called a digital health engagement platform, and the goal of the platform is actually to incentivize people to be more active and take care of themselves, and to improve their health, not only physical but also mental. So this is about well-being. And the cool thing is that their target audience are people like between 35, 65, and usually these people are pretty healthy. So actually they are using gamification, they are using coaching content and social features in order to motivate these people to actually form the habit and actually stay healthy throughout the year, and actually improve their overall well-being. So this is absolutely great. As I said before, you can see the detailed case studies on our website, and I'll also share the links. So okay, you get the feeling, the background, why it is important, but actually let us dive into the key part of today's webinar: how to gamify loyalty. So, Tom, if you could explain a bit how to do that.
Yeah, sure. So basically, how I think about it is there are two parts to gamification and how to gamify loyalty, right? So basically, first you need expertise, right? You need to know how to do it, how to design the flows, the user journeys, the experiences, right? Everything needs to fit. And the second part is technology that enables you to make it happen, to make happen the gamification, the design that you come up with, right? So with the expertise, you have more or less two options, two main options. You can have internal team that will work on the gamification, loyalty, that will be your knowledge center for that, right? And then you have second approach. You can use external resources like agencies, loyalty agencies, that will help you to design everything and prepare all the necessary materials and processes for that, right? And then we have the second part, which is technology. And for technology, you need to choose the solution, the technology, the approach that will basically fit your needs, right? So today we're going to focus on three approaches, and then a hybrid approach that kind of connects the three. So basically, we have custom feature development that you can do in-house. So you basically build everything, the whole solution, the whole software in-house with your own developers, product teams. You might hire someone, but you may use your existing product teams. The second approach is to hire a software development agency that will help you out with some of that, right? So if you need to scale up, then you take the agency. Then we have the SaaS approach. So using vendors. So getting in the partnership with a loyalty vendor and integrating an engine. And then the last part is a hybrid, but this we will cover at the end. So we can move on to the first one. So developing everything in-house. And here we have pros and cons, like with everything. So the pros of in-house development is you have a lot of flexibility and customization, right? So you can basically build your own tailor-made solution. And sometimes it's very important to have it done like that. And the great example is Duolingo. So for them, the loyalty and kind of gamification is the core to their business, is essential. It's kind of crucial part of their offering. When you learn language through the gamified experience, right? So for them, it makes huge sense to just basically have everything in their hands, to have the control, because they can experiment on different flows, different user journeys, different strategies, right? They can basically change the logic how they wish, right? And when they have full control over the process. So that's perfect for them. And I'd say that's essential for them to build a product that will engage their customers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So then another pro is building internal knowledge. So basically, you want to have some degree of internal knowledge about gamification, loyalty in your company if you want to integrate that into your product offering, right? Into the overall experience. And again, like in Duolingo case, it's essential for them. So they need to have the knowledge. So having everything built internally makes huge sense, right? And then we can move to cons. So basically, most of the time, loyalty and software development are not core part of your business, right? Because you might be retail, you might be fintech. So the loyalty and the gamification will be essential small part of the experience, but it won't be the foundation kind of, right? So it will be important. It will improve the engagement. It will help create the whole experience for your customers, but it's not core of your business, right? You won't sell things, for example. So in this case, you would be using the resources that you could spend on the core of your business on something that's not core of your business, right? Yeah. Then another con of the in-house feature development of the whole gamification experience is the resource costs. So infrastructure, engineering, management. So you will need to put in place whole structures to basically support the whole process. So designing from the business perspective, then designing from the technological perspective, then implementation, then in the future development, because in the end, you want to be able to experiment, you want to be able to develop the whole experience with time, with your customers, with every learning that you get from them, right?
Yeah, this is what you've said, that this is not only technology, but also expertise. So in fact, if you want to build something in-house, you need to take those two factors under consideration, and it's usually bigger than you think, right? So
yeah, exactly. Because it's not only like designing, developing, and launching, right? Because after you launch, you start getting feedback from what you designed. So then you want to improve on that. And it's a constant loop, right? So you need to be able to iterate quickly your solution, your gamification experience for customers, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and the last con here is you're stuck with custom software. So basically, you will develop a platform, a system, some kind of component feature, that will basically fit your company only, and only people that developed it, that are part of your company, will know how to handle that. So in the end, it's kind of tricky. You need to manage the tech debt. You need to motivate your developers to stay in the company. And it's a case with the legacy software that at some point there's no one that knows how to use it. There's no one that knows how to basically maintain it and develop new things. So it's one of the disadvantages that might be tricky at some point.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. This is definitely, like, now it's easier to understand what it really means to develop something in-house. Now, what is the second approach?
Yeah, so the second approach is kind of a variation of the first approach, which is also custom features development, custom system development, but with the software development agency. So basically, you get into partnership with software development agency, and you outsource some of this work So it's kind of easier for you, right? So the main pro of this approach is you can downscale and upscale operations easily, right? If you need this capability and you don't want to focus on hiring people and so on, then you can outsource everything and you're fine. And if you have a lot of money and you need to spend it, then it's a good approach, right?
Sure.
But then you have you can also, the another pro of this is you can focus on the core of the business and leave the technology to the software development agency, and they will handle it, right?
Yeah.
So then we have cons. So resources and technology costs, still you need to pay for the infrastructure, you need to pay the software development company. Depending on the partner, you'll pay less or more, but still it will be a cost for you. Then no internal knowledge will be built up, right? You will most probably have some kind of documentation from them. You'll most probably get some handovers and so on. You might also have some long-term partnership with them to have some people from their side working for you. But in the end, it will be no internal knowledge built for you. And since it's kind of a flow for you that you want to be able to have some control, or I'd say a lot of control of, because you want to design the whole user experience for your customers, then it's essential to have this knowledge, right? You need to have people that know how to maintain it and how to develop new things on top of that, right? Efficiently.
You're absolutely right. This is what you have said before, that it still needs to be tied to your business model, to your specific situation, to your service, to your product. So this is definitely a kind of like a challenge. What can you delegate? But how can you still get the control over the user experience, for example? So absolutely, this is key here.
Yeah. So the next is the con here is quality considerations. So depending on the chosen agency, you may have great quality, right? If you go with a great agency, they will supply you with great experts, great engineers. You might have great quality results, but we know that it's not always the case, and you don't have full control over the hiring process and so on. So sometimes the quality considerations might be the case, so you might not get the best quality here, but it all depends on the partner you're getting with, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And the last part is basically the same that we had before. So you're stuck with custom software built by externals. So it's kind of even worse because it's something that was built by someone else. So it was not even built by your internal product teams. It's something that was built by external product teams, external engineers that might be no longer there.
Right.
Which is not good for the future maintenance and development of the solution.
And as you've said before, like it's not like a one-time development. It's actually working with iterations. This is still like, keeping up with not only competition, but technology. So still this is something that needs to be improved. So absolutely, this is a sort of, it might be a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. So then we move on to the SaaS approach. So getting in touch with the loyalty vendor, like Open Loyalty. And here we also have pros and cons. So it's not a silver bullet, but let's start with pros. So basically, you can focus on the core business and delighting your customers, because you kind of let other people do the loyalty thing, loyalty and gamification, right? And since there's the expertise part and technology part that you need to connect together, then it's quite significant amount of work that you would need to do, as we discussed before, right? So you focus on the core of your business rather than gamification and loyalty. So the next part is that you don't need to keep an internal team just for this loyalty component, right? Because you have your loyalty partner, do all the heavy lifting in this area. So that's also another part that you can cut some costs here. Then no need to maintain the infrastructure. So this is both by the technology costs like AWS, Azure costs, but also DevOps team and so on. So that's also significant part of your budget. So you don't need to basically pay for that, because you basically pay the loyalty vendor to do it for you, right? And then another, I'd say one of the most important pros is state-of-the-art solution that should be based on the market research and experience, right? So you should expect that going with the loyalty vendor, that the SaaS solution, that it's something that it's up to date, and something that will be up to date based on the market trends and the experience.
Absolutely. So before we dive into the cons of this SaaS approach, I think that this part that you've mentioned, that you can focus on the core of your business instead of becoming like a software company. One of the cool confirmations or maybe examples that exactly prove this point is our recent conversation with Giuseppe from Henkel, Italy. And he actually, because I asked, okay, what is it that you can do with the loyalty engine that you wouldn't have been able otherwise? And he clearly explained that, well, basically run loyalty because we are a company that produces detergents. We are a chemical company and we are not a software company. So in this case, it was very clear that what they do is they focus on the interaction with the customers. They focus on the CRM side of the business, of the marketing operations, let's say. But here, when it comes to software development, they feel comfortable whenever they just, leave it with actually agency plus SaaS. So definitely, just wanted to show a kind of like an example that correlates with the first part that you've mentioned. But still, as you've said, it's not only pros. What are the cons of a SaaS approach, in your opinion?
Yeah, so it's not a silver bullet, right? So the SaaS might not be for you, because going with the SaaS API first solution, headless, you will still need technical resources. There would still be some technical demand on your end, so you need to be on board with your CTO product teams in order to be able to integrate that, right? So there is a little bit of the technology part still in the mix, and you need to be ready to embrace it, right?
Sure.
So yeah, so then it connects with the second con, which might be integration challenges. So you need to pick well-documented solution. So API first, the documentation needs to be really, really good, really clear. And then also pay attention to other methods of integration, like webhooks, integration with business intelligence tools and platforms. These are the parts that are really important to have this flexibility, right? So if you don't have it, or you pick a vendor that doesn't have it, then it might be a bit tricky. Then security, certifications. So while picking the vendor, one of the cons might be that you find a vendor that doesn't have all the necessary security measures in place or certifications. So it includes certification for security tests, ISO certifications, being able to cope with the GDPR requirements or other data privacy acts in different countries, different regions, right? So that's very important to make sure that you go with a vendor that basically have all those things, because if not, then it might be a huge disadvantage for you to end up with such a vendor.
Yeah.
And then
here, I just wanted to mention that I remember that when we discussed that with Kuhn from Qdance, he mentioned that for them, it was a sort of like startup and scale up situation where they analyzed, vendors, like potential technology providers. And as you said, like sometimes you have this technology that sounds awesome, but if you think about long-term collaboration, it might help you to choose the vendor that has been on the market for some time and has actually proven record and all those certifications that you have mentioned. So definitely it's also a sort of like a factor that not every software as a system, software as a service platform is the same, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So then there's the last one. You might simply not need a loyalty engine, like full blown loyalty engine with lots of options available for you to gamify your customers, like tiering, achievement campaigns, and so on. You might just need a simple plugin that will give you points and earning the points, and that's it, right? So the very important part is just try to find out your requirements, like document them, and then choose the solution that fits you. Because we're talking about like gamifying the overall experience, and you need to see if you really want to have like full blown solution, like API first loyalty engine that will give you this flexibility, or maybe you just need a plugin that will be fine for you, right? So you need to pay attention to this requirement phase and design phase to actually establish what you need, in
Absolutely.
order not to do go with something that is not really relevant for your case.
Especially at the beginning, as you said, it's easy to just overkill. Like you think about technology that gives you plenty of options, right? You have all those loyalty and gamification features, but in fact, you end up using only simple, let's say, points mechanics, right? And so in this case, it's better to test it out. Just and then if you decide that this is the route you would like to go, if you would like to just make this customer experience more engaging and start using gamification on a larger scale, you can always like go back to the concept of like using a more sophisticated engine in the future. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you need to first check what you need, right? And if you find out that you really need gamification, then you go with the API first. You can start small, even with the API first engine, and then you have the capability to expand on it, right? So it might be a good idea to go with it, but it might also not be a good idea if you don't have technology on board of your company and you don't have like the expertise and so on. Then this kind of solution might not be for you, and you might end up with a plugin that will be better.
Absolutely. Cool. There is one thing that you have mentioned previously. You've mentioned state-of-the-art software as a service platform. As a marketer, I've been there, done that. I used state-of-the-art as a sort of like a keyword that just says that your product is really sophisticated and it's great, and but if we could still tell us, tell the audience about what it really means, because very often this is just this marketing mumbo jumbo. I wanted to use because we meet here today and you represent the product development side. If you could actually explain what state of the art means when you say it.
Yeah, okay. So basically, how we do it in Open Loyalty, right? We work with a constant feedback loop, right? So basically, it's customer feedback from our existing clients, customers, right? We talk with them. We figure out what they really need, what are the metrics, the outcomes that they want to have with the gamification. Then we do market research, right? So we do benchmarking with other solutions, with other gamification experiences that are out there, like let's say Duolingo or other companies. So we try to find out what are the trends, what people are thinking about. Like you mentioned, our loyalty trends report, right? Then we kind of compile it and we try to analyze everything, right? We also have our internal loyalty experts with experience in the industry that help us figure out all the nitty-gritty details and figure out which ideas would have the biggest impact for our customers, right? Then we have our scoring system, and based on the score, we choose items that will have the biggest impact for our customers, and then we basically construct a roadmap out of that.
Brilliant. Thanks for actually sharing this, because very often, like it would be, I think that is not clear. But in this case, as you've said, it's feedback coming from customers. It is market research, and it's also like having loyalty experts on board who actually discuss how the individual features should interact, or how the mechanics should work. So this is great, because now probably the audience understands what state of the art really means. So this is cool. And now if we could just go back a bit, because you've explained the three, let's say, those three approaches, three models, and it was about software development, in-house, agency, and software as a service. But I guess that it's not that you need to pick one and stick to it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, what we see in real life is most of the time it's a combination of those, right? So we have an example here, which would be internal loyalty manager. So expertise part, right? You need to have the expertise if you want to have a gamification experience for your customers, then you need to have expertise on your end. You need to build this knowledge, right, in your company to be able to iterate the whole user journey, right? Then technology part would be you'd start with the loyalty solution, so SaaS, API first SaaS solution, backed up optionally with the loyalty agency at the beginning. So maybe 1-2 developers for the integration purposes, just to speed up the launch, to integrate everything. But it's an optional step, because you might use your existing product teams that will handle the whole integration, right? So depending on your needs, you might want to do it fully internally, or get small engagement from the software development agency. And then you might also consider using also at the beginning, kind of supporting your internal loyalty manager with the loyalty agency, right? So at the beginning, to design the flows, the business case, the KPIs, outcomes, all the strategies, and so on, it's a lot of work, right? So you might want to have additional people on board that will basically validate all your ideas. They will try to help you with the estimation of costs, assumptions, and so on, right? So it might be a good idea. It's not necessary, but it's an option that you could consider, right? So that's basically the hybrid approach. So to sum it up, internal loyalty manager on the expertise side, optionally backed up with the loyalty agency at the beginning. And on the technology part, it would be SaaS plus optionally some external integration resources.
Awesome. And also, like, thanks for clarifying that you do have this internal loyalty manager who is basically in charge of the loyalty initiative. So this is the person who analyzes what works, what doesn't. Also, yeah, this is the person who represents the expertise part. But when it comes to technology, if you choose a software as a service, then automatically you know that this platform is constantly being developed, and you can actually expect new things coming. I think that we didn't cover that, but one of the cool things about SaaS is basically that whenever there's a customer who develops a sort of like a feature, right, or this feature actually is on the roadmap, and then suddenly this becomes available to everyone else, right?
Yeah. So that's the huge part. So when we talked about the roadmap approach, right? So once we decide that we implement something, it's then launched for all the customers. So basically, we want to impact positively our customers, all of our customers, right? So that's the whole point, that we want to provide the product that evolves with time, right? So it enables the experimentation, the changes, being able to adjust to the market trends and expectations of your customers with time.
Absolutely. And then, if you have, for example, like some specific gamification or loyalty mechanics in one industry, it might be easier actually to identify places and use it in another industry. So also I think that this is where creativity and innovation is happening. So this is a cool side effect, right?
Yeah,
For
exactly.
that. Awesome. Okay, so thank you so much. I think that I have like I wanted to share, let's say, 2 examples of the hybrid approach that you've mentioned. As I said before, I'm not going to dive into the details of a case study. If anyone is interested, definitely you could find the links and just, or go to our website and see the full case study for yourself. Highly recommend that, because these are like truly awesome programs that actually now, as Tom mentioned, like when you go to those case study, you can immediately see the expertise and the technology part. So it's going to be easier for you just to also get inspired by that. But one of the examples I wanted to mention here is Qdance. So they do have this internal team, because as you remember, this company organizes live events, festivals. So basically the core of the business is not software. The core of the business is the offline experience, is fun, is actually, being together, is community building. So that's the core. But they decided to develop an app, and this app was actually designed as a sort of extension of your festival identity. So this is cool, because still, like, it was clear that the app is only helping festival goers. It's not actually going to distract them, because still the goal is actually to go to the festival, and instead of like looking at your smartphone, is actually to enjoy the event, right? So how they actually do that is they do have a team. The core business is like something else. This is offline, but they have internal developers who are in charge of developing the app, and then they are using SaaS in order to provide or supplement the app with some gamification mechanics. So here, just sharing one screen, you have quests, you have some actions to carry out during the festival, right? And once you complete the quests, you earn experience points and some trophies, badges, and it actually allows you to move through some tier system. It's truly great, because at some point this app actually allows to find and see and appreciate people who have been to the festival for a few years. So this is one of my favorite customer delight examples. They actually managed to identify people who have attended the festival for more than 10 times. And what they did is actually they organized a special event before the festival where they could meet and greet with their festival director, who did a tour around the stages. He explained what is the theme, what was the idea behind the design. So actually you can only imagine, for a person who has been attending the festival regularly, the opportunity to be there before the festival and actually meet with the people who created, amazing. So this is one of the examples of the hybrid approach that you've mentioned. And the second one is Dakadu. So I already mentioned the digital health engagement platform. Here we have like a solid, IT company. They develop software. They think about like different components, but because they are using software as a service, loyalty, and gamification vendor, they basically can act quicker and they have more flexibility. So in this situation, we have a company that is at the heart an IT company, but still, if you use SaaS you can implement some of the features easier. You can clash ideas. You still can co-create, mechanics that absolutely make sense for your customers in different industries. So if you want to dig into details, feel free to go to the website and see the full case studies. I highly recommend that. Truly inspiring loyalty programs and gamification examples. Okay, so I guess that, we could wrap it up because we have like a solid 40 minutes of information coming in. So I would say that we could wrap it up with key takeaways. We've identified 3. The first one is like loyalty is not about discounts, but it's about meaningful engagement. So if you think about your loyalty initiatives, try to think about member experience. Try to think about, okay, what could I do in order to stay in touch and engage with my customers, users, members, like regularly, right? Not only during the transactional, like, hey, thanks for purchasing, but it's actually, with gamification, you do have options to actually create multiple touch points and create this sort of like a habit of interacting with your brand. In order to do that, you need to have those both critical things that Tom mentioned. So you need to have expertise and you need to have technology. Very often, there are people who represent only one of these groups. So for example, if you talk to business people, they tend to be on the expertise, like meaning business model plus, let's say, gamification theory part, or you have technology oriented people, right? Who focus on, okay, what is the best possible technology that we could use. But in fact, you can't choose. You need both. So thanks for explaining that, what it really means. What do we mean by experience and what do we mean by technology here? And as Tom mentioned, you have 3 approaches. So you can like go for custom development, either on in-house or with the help of an agency. You also can use software as a service. Still, you need to define your needs, because sometimes you don't need a lot. You need something like small. You start small, but then as you develop your your business, when the member base grows, suddenly you might decide that, okay, now is the time for me to invest into gamification and actually differentiate when it comes to shopping experience, customer experience, right? Any sort of like experience with interaction with your brand. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that this session was inspiring, and also like you got quite a lot of knowledge to use. If you have any questions, feel free to write to us. We're always like available and like waiting for people to interact with. So thank you so much. Have a great day and see you soon at the next Loyalty Builders webinar.